Welcome to Linda's TV show. I greet you according to your time zone. If it is your first time of coming across this platform or seeing my face, my name is Linda and you are watching Linda's TV show. If you like what we are doing, kindly subscribe, put on your notification bell to all notifications so that you'll be able to know when we upload a new video. My lovely people, always share these videos, always like and share. Ugo here, we react to all forms of videos, local, internet, especially what is happening in Nigeria and in Biafra land. I put a disclaimer that here in Linda's TV show, we do not promote misleading information, hate speech, violent or instigating war. We are to all forms of videos and we are here to inform, educate, enlighten us of the public about what is happening. Of course, I will always seize every opportunity to appreciate YouTube for creating this platform that we are using to disseminate this information to the members of the public. YouTube, thank you so much.
Criminals are being celebrated. Criminals are being compensated in a manner of speaking. That society must go into prayers. In a society where you negotiate with criminals, you give money to criminals, you give cash to criminals, you even surrender yourself to criminals. That society is a society that must go on prayers. It's a society that must ask its own honest question. Are we willing to go down completely, or are we willing to stop ourselves? Well, apparently, Nigerians, both the leaders and the led, are not willing to say,
this is you and I, our country. We can't claim that we're Americans. We can't claim that we're from France. We are Nigerians. What is the way forward? You are a strong voice in another region. We've been condemning this government. We've been condemning several governments. What is the way forward? Security is all about you and I. It's not only for the government. So what is the way forward? We need a permanent solution, lasting solution to this, because everybody has had it up to here. In Nigeria, regarding this.
You elect to go to leaders when time comes.
How? With the electoral fraud going on? With vote buying and not going on? How do we get this right? You've been in the system.
It's very simple now. It's very simple. Don't take their 200 naira and their Indomie.
When there's poverty in the land,
it's okay. Then take it and suffer. Take it and suffer. You know that me, I'm not concerned with what is happening. All that I can do is to go to my farm and produce enough to eat.
You have a farm and you're not scared going to your farm because of the rising state of security.
If I stay at home, I die of hunger. If I go to the farm, if I'm lucky, I escape.
So you have to give words of encouragement to farmers so that we won't go.
They can't do. Look at it. Even the farming has been destroyed by this government. They made massive importation. Do you know how much a bag of beans is costing? 25,000 naira. So, how many bags of beans do you have to farm and sell and buy one bag of fertilizer?
I'm serious. Now, Laji, back to my question.
Yes.
How do we get out of
government should remove should stop selfishness and do the job.
How do they do the job?
How do they do the job?
Excuse me.
I suggested they bring in mercenaries to sort out the country. If they can't bring in mercenary, let them ask Britain to come back and colonize us.
To colonize us, going back to 60
you don't know elder statesman Sakun Bakwe before his death. That's his suggestion, and I supported him then.
So you prefer for us to go back to
of course now days? They can sanitize the country, put us on the rule of law, and teach us democracy and good governance and stop corruption.
But you know the presidency cannot do this alone. The lawmakers, the presidency cannot do this alone. What about the lawmakers? What about the government?
No, forget about the judiciary, forget about the legislature, forget about the presidency. You What's your priority in life?
My priority is to have peaceful environment.
So does it matter
that
whether,
I can go out tomorrow and not look my back up?
I say, does it matter whether it is a blue man or a black man or a yellow man that brings that peace to you and put food on the table? I'm a very patriotic person.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I have the guts to say this. You know that those in authority wouldn't like my guts. But they should be pleased, they should be happy that somebody can stand up and tell them what they need to do or what they are not doing, and they should do. At the rate we are going, if the bandits have a communication among themselves, they can take over Abuja. If 500 motorcycles, three bandits on each motorcycle, from Lokoja, from Kaduna, and from Kefi, which military man will stop here to save you? Sure, Gumi? I hope you know that Gumi was a soldier. You know? He was a captain or a major in the Nigerian army.
He can play a vital role to help out.
To help what?
Can he?
To help what? Who?
To help Nigerian government, of course.
Is Nigerian government interested in bringing peace? They don't need a Gumi. They should know what to do.
So you think Gumi is doing the right thing?
They don't need a Gumi. They know what to do. They don't want to do that because that doesn't bring money into the pocket.
Because he's still talking about negotiation. No.
You see, I think I better educate Nigerians. Even if we go to war, the end product is that we finish it on the table. But you have to put as much pressure as Trump is now putting on Nigeria to extract from the opponent. So, Gumi is a patriotic Nigerian who has a view. It may not resonate with me or you, but he remains a Nigerian with an alternative view to that of government. And let me tell you, if you are looking for the truth, ask your enemy or your opponent. Because from your sycophants and bootlickers, you will never get the truth.
I did highlight some of the things that have been said. Are they drastic enough in your view? Do they inspire hope for the people of the North to say this is a step in the right direction to be able to curb the incessant killings and kidnappings?
Well, this is just a panicky approach to security. When you wake up and say you are contributing $1 billion every month times 19 billion naira, to do what with that money? Where is the blueprint? What are they going to do in specific with that money? When you have no blueprint and you gather money, you file up money, the money will end up either being squandered or being wasted away. Nothing to implement it on. Number two, they are running away from the reality on ground. The reality on ground is that there is a linear between poverty, unemployment, illiteracy, and insecurity. They can surrender the entire budget of the state if they like. But as long as there is no investment in education, in agriculture, in youth training, in so many critical factors and infrastructure, for that long they can continue contributing any amount of money they want, but security is going to elude them. As long as they don't checkmate themselves, the extravagant expenditures being incurred by most of the governors explains why there is no security, not only in the north, but all over the country. When you find the main cost of local and foreign travel by a governor, golfing more than 30 billion naira in 1 year, actually in less than 1 year, and you go to the same state, go to the Ministry for Health, you find the entire budget for the whole ministry for over 8-9 million people is less than 10 billion naira. If you go to Ministry for Youth and Women Affairs, the amount budgeted is less than 2 billion naira. If you go to agriculture, the amount is less than 10 billion naira. But in the office of the particular governor, 30 billion, 40 billion allocated for what? For admin and traveling. Anybody with that mentality and is telling you that he's serious about security is only deceiving himself and also deceiving you. We need to have a practical approach. When you say you want state police, how, when? People have been calling for this state police for the last 10 years. They have been ignoring it. Now they want state police. What approach? Which structure is on ground for the state police? State police is very, very desirable. I am for state police, but not in the fire brigade approach. There is no state in Nigeria that doesn't have retired DIG, retired AIG, retired director DSS, retired director from prisons, retired director from immigration, retired director from civil defense, but they are not tapping into the experiences of these retirees who know the game better than anybody. Rather, some of them see them as enemies. As long as we don't bring in critical stakeholders, as long as government doesn't discharge its own responsibilities, as long as monies are being squandered and spent at will, for that long we'll just continue crying about insecurity, but insecurity will continue to challenge us.
Yeah, Mr. Madi, yeah, if I may comment, I know you've raised concern about lack of prudence on the part. I think it's across board, from federal government to state, where we've said, a friend of mine would say, is the moral hazard they have to bear for emotionally unintelligent expenditure, given the paucity of funds that we have as a people, yet we see them spending this money. Where I'm going to with that is insecurity is biting really hard. So in terms of prioritization, don't you think that is an urgent situation that needs to be addressed? Then we can backtrack to these positive factors that you've listed, which are quite correct.
The truth is that there has been total neglect in the past. People were complaining they are being ignored. At one time, in a certain state, only 10 local governments were under the hand of bandits. Today in that state, 20 local governments are gasping. They are under siege. They are under the control of bandits. If you take the entire north, northwest, northeast, north central, almost 60% have been run over by bandits. And surprisingly, when governor was under siege, Kano and Jigawa folded their arms. And then they forgot about what is called the contagious effect theory. Now Kano is affected. Jigawa is affected. When Zamfara was under siege, Sokoto and Kebbi folded their arms. Now Sokoto and Kebbi are under siege. Now, if you go to Niger axis, it's over now to Kogi, it's now to Kwara, it's now to Edo, it's Ondo. You see, it is just going on like a bushfire. It is now a national disaster on account of total neglect and ignoring of clarion calls of citizens who mean well were ignored. Voices were ignored. In a society where you find a government spending billions of naira to buy vehicles for traditional rulers, same vehicles that they cannot drive now on the highway. Most of them that go to Abuja or come to Kaduna or go to Lagos for a meeting, they go on chartered flights. They can never drive those limousine cars. In a society where you give priority for luxury, you abandon education, abandon agriculture, abandon healthcare, abandon youth unemployment is there in millions. That society can continue pretending. That society is entitled to pretend. Those leaders are entitled to their own make-believe, but insecurity will continue being a challenge as long as we don't do the right thing. As long as we don't spend money meant for the public in the interest of the public. As long as we continue to personalize collective wealth of the nation by few people are holding the entire country to ransom. For example, Ned Nwako, not Nwodo, the senator, his committee said that they have discovered $306 billion, almost $484 trillion questionable, doubtable, unaccounted for at NNPCL from 2017 to 2023. As if that was not enough, Senator Wadada, Chairman Senate Committee on Public Accounts, also said that 210 trillion need to be explained by NNPC. Just yesterday, day before yesterday, 17 trillion naira was spent by NNPCL on what? On guiding pipeline at the rate of 1.5 trillion per month. A total of over 600 trillion naira is being questioned under just one organization. You have not gone to NPA, you have not gone to the MASA, you have not gone to Central Bank, you have not gone to so many organizations, FIRS, to find out the Kwandamania.
Well, Mr. Madi,
that is money that is more than enough to make everybody comfortable.
Right.
Money that's more than enough to even help other countries. Is money being personalized by few people that are breaching the trust of the public?
Well, quite a number of issues you have raised, Mr. Madi, and you sort of focused on, government spending, use of public resources. You also talked about investing in education, agriculture, and youth development. Interestingly, these are the things being targeted by the terrorists. Education, schools being attacked, students being abducted, agriculture as well, farmlands being targeted, youth, a lot of these youths being recruited into the terrorist or bandit cells. So almost as though they are targeting what government should be doing and harnessing that for their own nefarious activities. But fundamentally, Mr. Madi, I want you to speak to this point because one of our guests earlier on talked about, the advent of terrorism, 1980, Metasini, and all of that, and how it has built up. In fact, he referenced, and I believe Bauchi State Governor about 6 years ago, where he was talking about, the movement of people, how people can actually move and they shouldn't have restrictions and all of that. And these communities have said time and again that one, we know where these terrorists are hiding. We don't think government is doing enough. In fact, government also know where these people are hiding. So I wonder for you, what is the fundamental issue here that looks like is holding government back from acting? When I say government, I mean government, security agencies, and the rest. Are they afraid, and what are they afraid of?
No, just look at the manner and the pattern and the processes through which leaders emerge in Nigeria. Here you are in a country where a person is in a locality, and every locality is a well-known criminal, well-known lawbreaker, well-known offender, known to everybody. Yet, somewhere, somehow, that person emerges to become a local government chairman, a councillor, to become a member House of Assembly, to become member House of Reps, a senator, a governor. He can occupy the highest office in Nigeria. A person that emerges through that process, fully aware of his credentials as a criminal, will be a person that will have no courage, will have no guts, will have no audacity, will have no temerity to checkmate crime because he is part of the crime cycle. Number two, we abandoned competence for anything goes. Just look at what is happening now. Open your eyes well. Look at the entire political horizon. See the people in charge. You will cry for Nigeria. It's only in Nigeria where somebody who was in prison, charged for murder of a cabinet minister, collected his nomination form while in prison, filled in the form, was not even there during the convention, was given the ticket, and he became a senator while in the prison. And up to now, the case of about that minister that he is suspected to have facilitated in killing is still nowhere in the courts. In a society where somebody is facing EFCC charges of multi-billion naira fraud from his own state, he was being charged to court almost a week, in the next 1 week. The moment his name emerged as a ministerial nominee, the investigation went down completely. He appeared at the Senate, he was cleared Everybody looked away from that crime. Many of them are there in the National Assembly, State Assembly, at local government level, at every strata of the society. A society where criminals are being celebrated, criminals are being compensated in a manner of speaking. That society must go into prayers. In a society where you negotiate with criminals, you give money to criminals, you give cash to criminals, you even surrender yourself to criminals. That society is a society that must go on prayers. It's a society that must ask its own honest question. Are we willing to go down completely, or are we willing to save ourselves? Well, apparently, Nigerians, both the leaders and the led, are not willing to save a society.
Well, Mr. Madi, pardon me to quickly come in here.
Sunk down.
Pardon me to quickly come in here. And you've talked about drastic measures. The Minister of Defense resigned late yesterday on health grounds, and there's going to be security rejigging, we imagine. I remember in 2014, then President Goodluck Jonathan, just right after the abduction of Chibok girls, 200 and something of them, was asked to resign by now President Bola Tinubu. Over 300 students have been abducted in Niger State, and more being abducted. Is it fair to then call on the president to resign, as a lot of people have called, saying that the figures look even worse than then, during Jonathan's time?
You see, it is what is called nemesis and karma. Jonathan was blackmailed. Using what? Using Boko Haram. By who? By desperate politicians who are out for power at all costs. They were all over. They went to America, they went everywhere. They want Jonathan what? Removed. Jonathan, being a gentleman, fully aware that he was being blackmailed, went and even congratulated Buhari. He stepped aside. 10 years down the line, Jonathan must be laughing in his private bedroom now. 10 years down the line, Jonathan will feel vindicated now. 10 years along the line, they are reaping exactly what they sow, that of blackmail, that of hate, that of desperation for power that they planted 10 years ago. They are now harvesting. It is karma at play. It is nemesis at play. The same politician now that are running helter-skelter, contributing $1 billion naira, spending trillions of naira, buying drones, are the same people that blackmailed Jonathan. Therefore, it is a warning that every day could be for the thief, one day could be for the owner. You can continue to blackmail, you can continue to intimidate, you can continue to arrest, you can continue to pretend, but a harvest day always awaits the pretenders, the blackmailers, and the intimidators. This is the rule of God. This is the law of God.
Mr. Mahdi, you're making very weighty, comments, or if you like, allegations, as the case may be. You say back then, desperate politicians using Boko Haram blackmailed former President Jonathan, and they're the same who are now buying equipment, who are buying drones. It seems like this will not go away in the polity. Just yesterday, ex-CDS General Rabo was saying that some politicians are funding terrorism. Prior to that time, some other speakers have said there are certain persons, even in the government, that are funding terrorism. How does that relate really to also, or contrasts with the decision of the northern governors to suspend mining in the north? And we've heard, also that some foreign nationals are also fueling banditry in Nigeria's north. How does this all tie together?
See, let them give you the list of people they granted the mining license. If you see the list, you will cry. I have the list up to 2024. I don't have that up to 2025, but if you look at the characters and the characterization of the people given the license for mining, your mouth will drop. If you travel to Dubai airport, Dubai, they have no gold at all. in the entire space of Dubai, there is no single deposit of gold. But now Dubai is a heaven for gold. And the 65% of the gold going to Dubai is coming from Africa. Of the 65%, 42 comes from Nigeria. Go to Dubai airport, go to the declaration desk, and see how raw gold is being declared for entry into Dubai. It's not illegal. You can take any quantum of gold, especially if it is raw, to Dubai, and you will have your dollar paid to you there instantly and instantaneously. Therefore, it is not the mining. They would never suspend mining. The owners of mining license are more powerful than the owners of oil wells in the south. They are powerful.
All right, Mr. Madi,
They are entrenched.
we're totally out of
They are
time.
strong.
That we shouldn't say anything against. We are being told that, oh, you shouldn't talk about the past. You should focus on the present. Yet, on this floor, rather than focus on what we're supposed to talk about, we go back to say, oh, during 2015, oh, the Chibok gas happened, and oh, we are now rescuing people. People were not rescued at that time. During Chibok, 17 local governments in Katsina were not having parleys with bandits. People in Kebbi were not leaving all the rural areas and coming to only the urban areas to stay. People in Niger were not being kidnapped. So why do we need to? At any time we need to talk about the present issues of today. We go back to start to look for excuse for our failures of today. I only want to say, let us do the right thing. We're not blaming this government for what they are finding itself, but it is the government in power, and they should do the right thing. What are the right things? We take only one example. The governor of Kebbi said that somebody ordered troops out and people were kidnapped. Till today, nobody in Nigeria knows what happened, and no question has been asked. And we're sitting down here as a parliament, and we turn and we talk. Yet, somebody is responsible. If I'm the commander-in-chief, I will call the army commander in that place and the head of the army and say, if you don't get me the head of this person, who withdrew the troops to put all these children in jeopardy? Then you make an example of him. That is how a country is run. A country is not run on pacification. A country is run on confronting issues. I rest my case.
Senator Abaribe. Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the man whose rather feisty comments you heard there, Senator Abaribe, who's a member of one of the opposition parties in the National Assembly, the All Progressives Grand Alliance, or APGA. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Now, needless to say, that was a feisty delivery by you on the floor of the Senate. Obviously, this issue of the withdrawal of troops from the school in Kebbi State 45 minutes before the kidnappers struck is a smouldering issue. Did you do that angry performance deliberately? Did you want people to hear the sort of frustration the whole thing was generating for you, or was it spontaneous?
I think it was, let me just say it was spontaneous, and I was just angry. I mean, what you would call righteous anger. The reason is that this was not the first time we've been hearing that there has been some type of collusion between the security people, and what happens, you know, villagers have said that, oh, they will tell the security people and they disappear, and then these people will strike, and then immediately after they will come back.
Well, to be fair, we don't know that it's collusion.
Well, that is the point. We don't know. So I was really angry, because the point really is this: how does a government operate this way? This sense that, okay, let's try pacification, what they euphemistically call non-kinetic. It's nothing but paying someone just to enable him to come back tomorrow and do even worse things. So my anger stemmed from the fact that this is the Nigerian army that had actually imposed peace in areas where there were all these guerrillas and all that in West Africa. And we are part of, at any point that Nigeria is part of any international contingent, they always come first. And the history is there. And I just cannot, or I couldn't, reconcile the fact that a Nigerian army is now being portrayed as being, I think about a week or so before then, there was this story of a major general, a brigadier general that was killed, Uba. And so
terrible
it makes us seem helpless, and I felt that from the way the debates were going among us, maybe the import of what actually we are confronting was not properly assimilated by my colleagues. So, well, I think that maybe now that we have seen steps being taken by the government and all that, and every other person speaking up.
I have to say that reaction that you had in the National Assembly, it touched a lot of people, including the President of the Senate.
Of course.
Who said he was associating himself with the comments
precisely.
that you made.
You know why I've said that? There is something that has kind of developed within our polity now, where whenever you give any sincere advice, a sincere criticism, you say, oh, maybe this was a better way. Oh, you're seen as an enemy.
Indeed.
You want to pull down this government.
Absolutely.
And so that now
and that is very wrong.
It's very, very wrong. That's not a democracy. It makes a lot of people who have things to offer now shrink back because they're not so sure that they will not be misunderstood in this way. And I think that
that's a very good point.
That those people who do all this, trying to impress Mr. President, are not doing him a favor. Because for a government to succeed, it will not only be the yes men that will make them succeed. A government succeeds because you now take
on board, from all kinds
everybody.
of people.
And I just give one simple example. During the time of President Obasanjo, he hired someone as one of his special assistants. Name is Dr. Stanley Makebu. He was hired as a contrarian. So when issues come up and people are going this way, he goes the other way in order to give the other sense so that everybody understands that everybody should not pull in one
playing the devil's
direction.
advocate,
Precisely. That's what he used to do. He was a contrarian in government, playing the devil's advocate and all that. And Obasanjo let him do that because he needed him. So we have now come to the point where some type of sickening sycophancy has now permeated the whole thing, and so everybody is a choir, a member of the choir. If you're not singing in one direction, you're seen as an enemy of the government. I'm not an enemy of the government. That's why I emphasized that we do not blame the government. They made this, but then when you take an oath of office and say, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, do it. You don't come in and then you continue to pamper and say, let me just continue going after all when my turn comes. And then the country continues to go down the abyss.
So, and obviously telling the truth about what the scale of a problem is, as you correctly pointed out, is the first step you take before you can think of what the correct solutions are.
Should be, yes.
So you were really frustrated, you were disappointed, we could see it, and it came across as very genuine. I mean, that's what drew people to it. When you were suggesting that the Senate was being told not to say anything against the failures of today.
I mean, you say anything, then there's so much brickbat thrown at you.
Yeah, but it was the frankness
people actually will get up and start to say something just for the cameras, so that the villa will see them as defending the government. They're actually not defending the government, they're actually ruining the government.
Just moving on from there and returning to that story about the withdrawal of troops. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward, given that there is a hierarchy of command in the army. Obviously, the troops were deployed to that location through an order and would have been withdrawn through an order. So, I mean, technically, I don't know what you think, but it shouldn't be a complicated probe, but a straightforward question about who gave the order.
Who gave the order? Yeah. It's so straightforward that you don't even need to think about it. I mean, that was what I was confused. Why do we need to argue about this? There's a commander there. There's, like you said, the hierarchy is there. Fishing out that person is the easiest thing in the world. Because what it connotes, that a lack of action by the government or by the military authorities and the burying of all those things, we now connote to or give the impression to the public that there is collusion somewhere.
Absolutely.
And okay, if we feel that there is collusion somewhere, so who is safe? Who is safe? It means that I cannot now be sure that even if there are troops around me, that I can be safe. How can you not be sure? You are no longer sure that even the troops around you can just hand you over and then you become a victim. That is just the point. There comes a time in a country's life in which this I don't know how I will put it now, but I will say we must stop the obfuscation, dissemblance, and all that. We must start telling the truth. We must confront things as they are. And if you don't do that, how are you going to solve the problem? So we have had this problem all the way from the Jonathan time, all the way coming all the way down, to this, and it gets worse. It gets worse. I mean, it looks as if somebody just sitting somewhere and just saying, okay, let the whole country go to blazes.
Right, but I mean, in terms of this particular investigation, I mean, it's all right to leave it to the army because they have their own internal processes of carrying out those kinds of investigations. And what if in the end they decided that it's not a good idea to make whatever the result is public, and that they if you like, to protect the image of the army?
That may well be so, but you send a wrong picture to the public.
Signal.
The signal to the public will now be that, people can just be put in jeopardy and nothing will happen. Because people have always waited. This is not the first time investigations have been done to see what is the response, what happens, so the way that information is being given out to reassure the public that you are on top of the situation is not there. That is just the fact.
But it is important to maintain public trust in the army. So if, for example, you go and say that, so and so happened, I mean, it could potentially negatively affect the public trust.
No, actually, to maintain public trust,
or you think
if somebody is being punished,
right,
then the public
will inspire the public and say, right,
yes, okay. It will inspire the public. At least an action is being taken.
Do you think?
And like I said, the best army in Africa, and I continue to say it. There's something obviously going on, and when we interact with them, because we interact with the military people, we interact with those who work with them and all that, and They are just that thing. That's a question of political will. I think President Obasanjo alluded to it the other day in just, I mean, you must have the will to fight. There must be that burning desire. When you take an oath of office, just like we have all taken, it is to do your best for this country. That's just it.
But I mean, obviously the National Assembly has oversight capacity over the army. At the very least, should the National Assembly, can it ensure that military personnel are held to account for their actions as a result of that oversight capacity, and ensure that measures are taken to prevent similar incidents in the future?
Actually, coincidentally, within this period, the National Assembly is on doing, as part of its duty, doing security summits.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that summit in a minute. Yeah.
So it's coincidental that at the same time, it's also happening. So we're going to wait for the report.
Right.
And I'm sure part of the report will be the measures that will be taken to ensure that such a thing never
Right, but you don't think the National Assembly should take its own steps to investigate that withdrawal?
There are committees. There's a committee for military, for the Army, Air Force, Navy, and defense staff and all that. And the committees are up and doing. I'm sure they will also interact with the military to say, hey, Nigerians are feeling very bad about this.
And of course, those abducted students and their families, they belong to constituencies that have representation at the National Assembly.
Precisely.
Are there attempts to ensure that support is being provided to the abducted students and their families and all the rest of it?
I'm sure that our colleagues who have their constituents and all that, because we interact with each other and everybody is worried. You could see the other senators when they spoke and the passion with
But shouldn't that be something that's being talked about volubly on the floor of the Senate? Just like you talked about the issue of...
Well, let's put it this way. When committees work, they come back to the Senate with reports. So maybe in the next 1 week, 2 weeks, we'll see their reports, and that will give us an insight into their interactions with these agencies.
But I mean, given your experience as a senior member of the National Assembly, a senator who's been there for quite some time, do you think that given all that's going on at the moment, the abductions, the terror attacks, the Trump threat, the declaration of a security emergency, discussions around state police, the security summit you're talking about, you know, not just here, but in various parts of the country. Do you think all that has heightened that long overdue conversation about insecurity?
Of course.
And more than ever, the chance of a lasting solution is greater now than since this government came to power 2.5 years ago? Or is there a sense that there's a lot of flailing about, basically?
Well, let's just put it this way. I think that there's movement.
There's greater urgency.
Now there's an urgency now, and there's everything that we can see something going on. We just want to see some clarity at the end of the day to say we're going to do A, B, and C, and not just a general talk and then we just leave it.
And you're going to keep snapping at their heels.
Obviously, we're not going to let anybody rest. The job of those of us who are in the opposition is that we put your feet to the fire at all times.
Well, beyond the opposition, the job of the National Assembly is to oversight the executive.
The point of the part of the job of the National Assembly is oversight the executive. Yes.
Indeed. And it would not be unfair, would it, to say that many people in different parts of this country have been broken again and again by this issue of insecurity. The resilience of Nigerians that is well known has been tested to the limit by the brutality of all of this. Are you satisfied, as I said, that all is being done and that the political will, because I mean there's a lot of stuff going on, but is the political will there to end the problem?
For me, part of the stuff going on is, okay, let's just talk so that people will not bother us. What we are saying, silly, is that we need to see those concrete steps. We need to see timelines and what you do to reach those timelines. What you do, what are they, all those things that you will have to. We need to see areas that are cleared and there is no more insurgency in those areas. We don't just, as we were just saying that, we are containing this one here, then another thing happens.
Right.
As they were talking about, these people in KB being released, then there's another one that happened in Niger. No, hardly has we, gotten to grips with 200 and something students in Niger State. There's something else happening in Kano and all that. So there's a sense, and of course, what do we get from government spokesmen? They want to bring down our government, this and that. Look, I do not think that the blame game, which is why I was really angry that day, is what we solve the problem. What do we solve the problem really? Is that, so somebody wants to bring down your government, so you remove that prop from him. And the way to remove that prop is that you solve the problem.
Indeed. But let me ask you this, because another issue, I don't know how much that affects you, is this issue of the removal of police from VIPs. You are clearly a VIP. How does that affect you?
These cosmetic things. Of course, I don't use police.
You mean you never have?
Well, we were all offered. I didn't use.
But is that being withdrawn from you now?
The reason that nothing is being withdrawn from me, because you have to have it first. But that's not really the point. How do you secure a community? That is the real
but
issue.
if you've got a lack of boots on the ground and you have over 11,000 police officers doing jobs where they could be deployed somewhere else, that's a significant thing, isn't it? To take them and redeploy them.
Maybe you can ask the police authorities who feel that withdrawing them will make people safer. How does that make people safer?
No. What we're saying is that they're taking them to the areas where there's greater threat.
Well, so someone has not been in combat situation for years.
Well, that's why they said they give you crash
that means you have to give the person fresh training. You have to let him know how to do this thing. So you have to reorient.
But you have to do something. We're in a crisis situation, and there's got to be short, medium term, long term.
Well, we're looking and we're waiting for the results of these actions.
Now, the Senate, I think you mentioned that earlier, was supposed to open its security summit today. Tell us what it's aiming to achieve in terms of impact. Is it a summit that'll deliver something tangible or a sort of hyped up talking shop?
No, it's not hyped up.
Because you've complained about talking shops.
Precisely. But for the Senate, it was also because of the incessant cries about insecurity that the Senate, after doing it and reviewing it, we also agreed that maybe we shouldn't just leave it in the hands of the military to tell us, we're doing A, B, and C. Can we engage with both the community, the government, the military, the police, and the other allied agencies in the different geopolitical zones? Because maybe what is affecting a geopolitical zone may not be the same thing in another one, so that we can have a comprehensive view and also bring it back to government. Because whatever you do in the legislature, no matter what you do, by the time the reports come out, you have to put it to the head of the government to say, we suggest that A, B, and C are done. And then we also wanted to ask questions. Trillions here going here, trillions going there. Our job also is to say, have you put these funds to the best use for the interest of the country? And that is why that Security Summit was initiated and is currently being done by the Senate.
Senator,
Hello, my wonderful people. As we have finished watching this interesting video, Please, I want to see your comment, your contribution, your opinion in the comment section. Like I said earlier, let us do it constructively. Tell me what you think about this video that you have just watched, and also about the platform. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please remember to subscribe, put on your notification bell, share this video, and remain blessed.